Please put away your electronic devices, silence them. Guys, we have a pretty important message for you today. The individuals that you see on stage here are members of the organization Fentanyl Fathers. They're going to put on what will be a very, very compelling program for you today, full of information, and it can also bring up some feelings in you. If that happens today, that's okay, and if you have to exit at any time, that's fine as well. Before I turn it over to Greg, I wanted to say, if you guys were here last year, so you remember we had a wolf time, and it centered around some information about fentanyl. And the feedback we received from students and staff was that that was one of the most powerful wolf times that we've had, and a lot of people asked for more information on it. Fortunately, we were able to partner with Fentanyl Fathers and Mike Gillette and bring them here today. So without any further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Greg from Fentanyl Fathers.
Thank you so much. It's a real, you guys, it's such a privilege to be here. We're reaching 2,100 students today. We're estimating that 7 lives will be saved today. Because after we're done talking, I don't think you guys are going to go anywhere near fentanyl. I'm here on a sad mission. My name is Greg Swan. I lost my son to this. And Robert over here, Robert Graham, lost his daughter Destiny to this. Robert Kiesling lost both his sons in the same night to this. And Michael Gillette over here lost his son. So the person with an experience is never at the mercy of someone with an argument. We're tight on time, so I'm going to get rocking and turn this over to Mike Gillette. And at the end, if we have a couple seconds for a couple questions, we'll give out these books to anybody asking questions. But we're going to make these books available to everybody here, and we'll send them to your principal, Barry. Thank you. Here you go, Mike.
So I'm going to start the same way I start every presentation. You're going to roll your eyes, say, okay, boomer, but I'm good with that. But I truly believe that the next 45 minutes could be the most important 45 minutes of your school year. And I'm hoping at the end of that presentation today, you will feel the same way. So I want to start with a number. I'm going to look out here. I'm guessing there's 1,000 students in this room right now. 1,000 students. Let me share another number with you. It's a big number. That means everybody in this room would be gone in less than 1 week. So keep that thought in mind. So my name is Michael Gillette, and on January 27th, 2022, my wife and I found my oldest son, Brian, dead on his bedroom floor. Brian died of fentanyl poisoning. This is not unique to my family. It's not unique to Greg's family, Robert's family. We lose over 80,000 people a year to fentanyl poisoning. And this age group right here, you people in this audience, you are the fastest growing age group to be impacted by this drug. So don't think it's not going to cross your path in the next couple of years. So I've spent way too much time with bereaved parents, and we all agree on one thing. Awareness is our #1 weapon. And that's why we're here today, to bring you awareness, to bring you education so that you don't make the same mistake that our kids made. Who are we? Each of us up here has lost a child to fentanyl poisoning. Robert Kiesling lost both of his boys on the same day. But we're living the pain, we're living the grief of that tragedy. Why do we do this? Well, it's simple. We lost our kids to fentanyl, but most importantly, we do it for you. Everybody in this room has hopes, ambitions, things you want to accomplish, and I'm here to tell you, one mistake will end all that. So, let's learn something today. Let's get started.
My name is Dominic Tierno. Since I graduated high school in 2014, I've had the great honor of directing a number of documentary films about drugs and drug addiction. Our mission is to revolutionize drug education by telling real-life stories that motivate young people to make one of the most important decisions of their life, and that's the decision to not use drugs. 2020 was the worst year for drug overdose deaths that we have ever seen. In the beginning of summer in 2020, I came across this article. A 14-year-old kid from a town I grew up in had died from what appeared to be a drug overdose. He's a smart, funny guy who, like many kids, was struggling with some anxiety issues and decided that he would turn to drugs to see if he could help himself with that. What happened was he went and bought this pill, this Oxycontin pill, from a guy he had known because he thought that pill might ease the pain of what he was going through mentally. Well, he didn't know it, but that Oxycontin pill wasn't a real Oxycontin pill. It was a fake pill. It looked just like the pill that he wanted to try, but instead of Oxycontin, it was made with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid known to be 50 to 100 times the strength of morphine. That one pill he took that night killed him almost instantly, and his mom found him dead in his bedroom the next morning. Before I can even finish that article, I'm scrolling through and I see another linked article. Not far away, around the same time, another 14-year-old dead from fentanyl. So then I go back to Google and I type in fentanyl deaths. I hit search, and then it all made sense. I saw another kid. I saw high school students, college students, young adults, all recent, all over the country, all dead from fentanyl. And so I'm looking at that and I'm saying, these aren't just normal overdose deaths. These people think they're taking one drug and turns out they're being killed. Why have we not heard about this?
First time I heard about fentanyl was my sister busting in my house being like, don't touch anything in this room that's fentanyl. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I have no idea what's going on. So most people haven't heard of this because we haven't been talking about it. Back in 2013, when it first started showing up, only about 3% of drug users were dying from it. Now we're looking at over 50% of drug deaths being attributed to fentanyl. If Alexander could have got a lesson, I wish he knew about fentanyl. I wish he understood that fentanyl poisoning is real and that every time you try something, you're playing with your life. It is pill roulette every time you try it. As a mom of a kid that was just trying to experiment, for our kids. As a mom of a kid that died just wanting to experiment, I wish I could just shake you and tell you and make it real for you. But I don't know how to do that. I won't be there when you're faced with these decisions. I know that if he knew the effects of his passing, it would crush him. He never intended for me to find him on his bedroom floor. He never intended for his dad to administer CPR trying to save his life while we were waiting for the paramedics. Even his 12-year-old sister wanted to run in there and try to help do CPR, but I held her back. Alex didn't intend for me to see him. Wheeled away on a stretcher and put into an ambulance. Alex had no intentions of me seeing him lying on a stainless steel table covered with a sheet with only his head showing. Alex had no intentions of me knowing what it felt like to kiss his face for the last time. The images that I'm left with of that day replay in my mind on a regular basis. Please do not put your family through this. And please, 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 I beg of you, learn about fentanyl now. You can be a very important part of saving lives.
This would be how much cocaine somebody would have to ingest to kill them. This is the approximate number of prescription pills one would have to ingest to kill them. This is the amount of heroin the average person would have to ingest to kill them. Fentanyl. You've got to bring that camera up here real close to see it. This much fentanyl would kill you and I if we split it. 4 years ago, DEA Arizona seized 0 fentanyl. This last year, we seized enough fentanyl to kill 7 million people. You're playing Russian roulette out there where you're taking these pills and you're buying this stuff off the street.
Social media has completely changed the landscape of the drug trade. Most people start by searching for what they think are prescription medications, and drug dealers respond saying that's what they have. But what you have to be careful about is what you're asking for and what you get can be 2 different things. And if you're buying this stuff from somebody online, their bottom line is they're just looking to make a quick buck. They don't have your best interest in mind. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Unless you're getting these drugs from your doctor or a licensed pharmacy in a bottle that has your name on it, you may as well assume these drugs are fake. You're not getting the real thing. Fentanyl's literally taken over the drug market. It's in everything. It's in meth, it's in cocaine, obviously the counterfeit pills that are out there. We're starting to see it showing up now in marijuana. The people who make this stuff, who are putting the fentanyl and everything, they have one goal: to get you hooked. Fentanyl is highly, highly addictive. They're going to trick you into thinking you're getting something you're not, to take you down that rabbit hole, to get you hooked on fentanyl, and have you become an addict. Because to them, you're a customer, and you'll be a returning customer at that point. One of those times, you're going to get enough fentanyl to kill you. Alex was in her bedroom at night, getting ready for bed. She went on social media in search of oxycodone. It wasn't hard for her to find a drug dealer, and she had what she thought was oxycodone delivered to our house. 1 pill had enough fentanyl to kill 5 people. My daughter took half of this pill and died instantly. In an instant, my life was changed forever. My last memory of my daughter is of her being wheeled out on a gurney. Saw my daughter brought into this world, and I saw her leave this world. I have 4 daughters, a beautiful wife. Every time we take a family picture, I don't see who's there, I see who's missing. It's an odd feeling to looking forward to dying, because you know that's when your heart will be made whole again. Alex couldn't let you one of this. Don't do it to your parents.
It's the end of the world at the palm of my hand. If you can't come with me, I'll understand.
You have a choice.
because it is between life or death. This is no joke. You can and will die. How do I know this? I can tell you that I've met thousands upon thousands of parents nationwide. I wish somebody had sat me down and had this talk with me about what fentanyl does to people. I didn't get that chance. You do.
You know, there's always been one main problem with the films that we make, and it's the reason why we try to keep them as real and as relatable as possible. People just so commonly think that it will not happen to them. I'm talking about great people, nice people, cool people, intelligent people with big plans for the future, big potential. Gone because of one choice they didn't know would end their life. Fentanyl is coming for anyone and everyone. So the most important message that I can give to kids, to teens, young adults, anybody, is the same old message we've heard time and time again. And that's to really get serious about not even trying a drug. You see, back when we first started, I was telling kids not to use drugs because you might get hooked, you might get addicted. Now there's not even time for that. Now it's don't try a drug because you might actually not wake up tomorrow. You might actually not get another chance. One choice is all it takes. If you don't believe that, I guarantee you, at this point, there was someone very similar to you who wished they could be here right now to look into the camera and look into your eyes and say, don't do it. Please don't do it. Please, I wish I wouldn't have done it. Don't do it. Don't risk your life. So my question for you is, are you going to listen? Or will it be your family and your friends holding your picture, wishing they could have been there to tell you?
This is my son, Alexander. He died at 14 years old from fentanyl poisoning.
This is our daughter, Jessica. She was 29 years old when she was killed by fentanyl.
This is my daughter, Alex. She was murdered at 20 years old by a drug dealer who sold her a counterfeit pill made of fentanyl.
This is my son, Daniel Joseph Puerta Johnson, killed at the age of 16 by illicit fentanyl.
This is my son,
This is Caleb and Tyler Kiesling. I'm their dad. My two boys passed away on the same night, July 28th, year 2020. Well, who were they? They were grown up in Rochester, went to Rochester Adams High School. Caleb, the elder, he's distinguished because he was a super smart kid. He's the kind of kid you want to have as a lab partner. We were a soccer family. He played goalie his freshman year for the high school team. He left that because he got a concussion. And he loved Louis Vuitton belts. He liked rap music. He liked hanging out with his friends. He had a girlfriend. Kyler, his younger brother, by 20 months. Again, they were real good buddies. He was a super athlete. He was very people smart. Wasn't the greatest student. And actually, that's on July 28th is when he graduated. He had to finish up his language arts, took it online twice after not making it through in high school, but he graduated on July 28th. That day, him, his brother, decided to celebrate. They got together with 3 other friends and chose to go do some partying at a hotel room. I know, I saw them off. I'm like, at least they're safe. I knew it was likely that they would be drinking and probably smoking. At least they were safe off the road, because cars were so dangerous if you were under the influence. Or so I thought they were safe. The next day I was supposed to take Caleb to get his car fixed up, and I was supposed to have dinner with a framing pilot. Called him at noontime, no answer. Called him at 2, no answer. I didn't know what was going on, but it wouldn't be uncharacteristic not to get a call back from him. At 5:30, I get a call, Mr. Kiesling, are you the father of Caleb and Kyler? I said, yes. Would you come down to such and such hotel? Well, what's the problem, officer? He said, how quick can you get here? And right then I knew that this is something very bad, something serious that's happening. So I arrived to the hotel, and the detective on the scene said, we've seen this happen all the time. I'm like, what? He said, what's that? He says, it comes in these pills, and he showed me pictures of Percocets that were found on the scene. Kyler was found in the hotel room lying down next to his girlfriend, who had also passed. His older brother Caleb was slumped over in a chair with a joystick in his hand. They didn't know what hit him. I had to go home. I was in shock. I had to go home that night. They have 3 sisters younger, 13, 15, and 17. And I had to look into each one of their eyes one at a time and tell them that tell the sisters that their brothers are dead. That was the worst day of our lives. I miss them every day, and so do their sisters.
Good morning. My name is Robert Warner. On April 30th, 2023, I received a call from my daughter Destiny's mother stating that she wasn't breathing. Made my way to the hospital, and me and her mom was in the room, and the doctors came in and told her that they had lost Destiny. Destiny had took half of a Percocet that was laced with fentanyl. Destiny had a child a month before she passed away, and she already had a 5-year-old. Destiny passed away in front of her children. So now she has a child that would never know her mother. Destiny and I, we shared our birthdays. Our birthdays was like a week apart. She would always call me for my birthday. I'd be like, what are you gonna do? Well, we're gonna celebrate on your birthday. So now, when I see Destiny now, I have to go to her grave. This hurts me to the core. Her siblings are hurting, still grieving. So we want to say to you, if it's not prescribed to you, do not take it. Thank you. Robert.
Thanks, Robert. This is Drew, my son. He was a model. He was brilliant. He was ridiculously smart. And this is our last day together at Epcot Center. And a month later, I had lost him. I got a call from that guy sitting right there, Jack. And he blurts into the phone. It's 12:30 at night. I'm sleeping. And it's the second call. My wife's just picking up this bad news. And I picked it up, and he goes, Dad, are you sitting down? I'm like, I've never heard him talk like that. I'm like, yeah. I'm thinking, quit freaking out. I sat up and I'm like, what's going on? He goes, I need you to be sitting down right now. I go, I am. He goes, Drew's dead. And I didn't even register with me like, oh, then he's in a lot of trouble. I literally thought that he's in a lot of trouble. See what he's done now. I'm like, wait a minute, deceased? He goes, yeah, we need to start mourning the loss of your son and my brother. And I lost it. I just started flipping God off and screaming bloody murder, dropping F-bombs, drove out to see him. But the problem is he took an unprescribed pill, and it's our message today. If you take a pill that's unprescribed to you, or any drug, illicit, that doesn't have your name on it, prescribed from a doctor, it's likely going to kill you. Don't shoot the messenger. This is reality. We lost our kids. Go ahead, next slide. So yeah, this is Drew's grave, and then that's where we're left to visit. This is a gal named Rain. She's teaching a freshman class about fentanyl.
These controlled substances have very serious side effects, which include but are not limited to drowsiness, fatigue, dizziness, mental fog, and in very serious cases, death. But actually, not really in very serious cases, because even a small amount of fentanyl can kill you, and it's very, very scary. And this is an epidemic killing millions of people in teens. It's a growing problem in the United States.
So Rain is teaching a freshman class about fentanyl. Obviously, she's the expert subject matter-wise, and there's no way this would happen to her. This is Rain 1 month later. She filmed that on April 27th and on May 27th. She died of fentanyl poisoning. How's that possible? How could she fall for that? She bought the lie that the pill in her hand, after she Googled it, was identical to what a Xanax looks like, a legitimate Xanax, but it wasn't. And it killed her. Mom is the saddest person I know. She had a law passed in Oklahoma recently mandating this type of awareness. But that means that everybody should learn the lesson of Rain. You see a pattern developing here, parade of tombstones. This is why we're here. It's the 900-pound gorilla. This is last year's number who died by overdose in the United States, and 70% of that is driven just by fentanyl. So that's why we call ourselves fentanyl fathers. You add up drunk driving, 9/11 COVID deaths, 22 childhood cancer deaths, the Vietnam War, 58,000, and all those famous deaths up. It's less than died last year. Kind of crazy, isn't it? 3,000 in Michigan every year. To put that in perspective, we don't have that, but that would be a sold-out Piston game, a sold-out Red Wing game, and a sold-out Comerica Park Tiger game, all together, all dead. That's how many people that is. Famous people galore die of this. Prince is the poster child. Guy put on the greatest halftime show ever at the Super Bowl. Mac Miller, maybe you guys watch Euphoria with Angus Cloud. One of our persons knows Mac Miller. The son knows Mac Miller. But famous people are dropping like flies. Jackson Brown just lost his son to it. I'm going to turn this over to Jonathan. Pardon me going so fast, but we got to land this plane in short order.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Maxkay. I work with the Alliance of Coalition for Healthy Communities. We're a nonprofit here in Oakland County. We do a lot of work with substance use, both prevention, going into schools, doing stuff like this, and then our recovery support side where we work with individuals to help them find their own pathways into recovery. My goals for today, I want to educate you guys and raise awareness on the dangers of synthetic opioids. That includes fentanyl. We're going to learn how to administer nasal naloxone. Who's heard of Narcan before? So that's fantastic. Naloxone is a medication's name. Narcan is a brand name. I'll use them interchangeably while I talk. We're going to raise awareness about the potential consequences of substance use and then connect you guys to important resources here in Oakland County. So why do we do it? I like to talk about why I do it on this slide. So I am a person in recovery from substance use disorder myself. I've walked down this road before. I've taken these drugs. I got into recovery back in 2016. Hopefully what I have to say here today helps you to realize that you don't have to take that same path. I grew up in Rochester Hills. I actually graduated from Rochester Adams as well. The feeling that I got growing up in Rochester Hills is that Rochester Hills didn't have a drug problem. That the drug users were over in Pontiac or down in Detroit, and Rochester Hills was too good to have a drug problem. That feeling that I got growing up there made it really hard for me to reach out for help when I needed it. So that's the stigma that I was facing. We feel like the more presentations we can do, the better we can eliminate that stigma so that folks like myself can reach out for help when they need it. We want naloxone to be more readily available. The fact of the matter is the more naloxone that's in the hands of the general public, the less fatal overdoses we have. We want to warn people about the dangers that exist in today's drug supply. Here you can see the numbers. They keep going up and up and up. Back in 1999, we lost less than 20,000 people. In 2022, we lost over 110,000 Americans to a drug overdose. It's across every demographic you can name, age range, gender identity, racial identity, you name it. The numbers keep going up and up. Like the video mentioned, this is one of the fastest growing groups to lose their lives to overdose. We had a 114% increase in overdoses from 2019 to 2021. in this age group specifically, 10 to 19. 2/3 of those overdose deaths had a bystander present. That is someone else in the home with them, a friend or a loved one. 35% of those overdoses had previous opioid use history, but 90% of those deaths were opioid related. And what that tells me is that a large number of those deaths were first-time users, people who didn't even know that they were getting opioids. A lot of those deaths are being caused by counterfeit pills. Counterfeit pills are being mass-produced by criminal drug networks. They are easy to purchase and widely available. They often contain fentanyl or methamphetamine, and they're being bought and sold anywhere that people buy and sell things. E-commerce, social media, you name it. Current testing out of the DEA lab reveals that 5 out of every 10 pills that contain fentanyl contain a potentially lethal dose. And for reference, that is a potentially lethal dose of fentanyl right there. That's about 2 milligrams. That is enough to kill somebody without a tolerance, someone like myself. This slide always blows my mind. Like Greg was mentioning, like the video mentioned, there's no way to tell today. If you're looking at 2 pills in your hand and you don't know where they came from, if they didn't come from a bottle that had your name on it, prescribed by a doctor, you can't tell the difference today. The criminal drug networks have the exact same manufacturing equipment that the pharmaceutical companies have. There's no way to tell. And it just blows my mind how realistic the counterfeit pills are. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that's 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times more potent than morphine. The criminal drug networks are counterfeiting anything they can get their hands on. Everything from Oxycontin, Percocet, Vicodin, Xanax, Adderall, and then fentanyl powder is also being added to today's street drug supply, the cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine. We're going to talk a bit about the science behind an opioid overdose so we can understand how naloxone works. So when a person takes a substance, that substance is processed by their body, it gets into their brains. And in all of our brains, we have these receptors. For opioids, we have the opioid receptor. When the opioid receptor sees those opioids floating around in the brain, it reaches out and it grabs onto them. And that's what gives that person the feeling of being high that they're looking for. Now, during an overdose, too many of those receptors have grabbed onto opioids, and what happens is it stops the signals from the brain that tells the lungs to breathe. It looks very similar to an asphyxiation. Now, when that same person has naloxone administered, when the opioid receptors are holding onto the opioids, when they see the naloxone floating around, they like naloxone better than they like the opioids. So they take all the opioids off and they grab the naloxone instead. This completely reverses the overdose. However, the time to remember with naloxone is 30 to 90 minutes. That's how long the body takes to process naloxone. We have seen cases where people experience an overdose. They have that overdose reversed with naloxone. The naloxone will wear off, they can go back into overdose. It's very, very important that everybody visits further medical attention after experiencing an overdose, even if they have their overdose reversed. Naloxone is effective. It works on any opiate, any time. All the ones we see up here on the screen, everything from Percocet and Vicodin all the way up to heroin and fentanyl. It's important to note it only works on opiates. It does not work on alcohol, marijuana, stimulants like Adderall or cocaine. It only works on opiates, but it works on every opiate every time. It can cause a sudden withdrawal, especially for folks that regularly use opioids. However, there are no psychoactive effects of naloxone. Naloxone is not addictive, and there will be no effect on the individual if an opiate's not present, which is great news, because if I find somebody unconscious, I can safely administer naloxone. If they're experiencing an overdose, the naloxone will work to reverse that overdose. If they've got something else medical going on, heart attack, diabetic emergency, the naloxone will never make the situation worse. I could have naloxone administered to me right now and nothing would happen because I don't have any opiates in my system. It's also the reversal agent of choice that's used by EMS, fire, and law enforcement. To talk a bit about signs and symptoms, both of opioid use and of opioid overdose, it's important to talk about signs of use because if I see these in a friend or a loved one, I want to be that safe person that they can talk to. So the number one telltale sign is that their pupils are going to contract and appear small. We'll look a little bit more at that on the next slide. But they're also going to be pretty out of it. They might be falling asleep, slumped over, itchy, scratchy, speech might be slurred. Even though they're kind of out of it, they will still respond if you try to engage with them. You tap them on the shoulder, you try to have a conversation, they will still respond to you. All of our pupils react to light. If I go into a dark room, my pupil's going to close up, and if I look at a bright light, my pupil's going to close up if I look at a bright light, and if I go in a dark room, my pupil's going to open up. Substance use has an effect on this. So there in the middle, we can see someone who might have ingested some kind of stimulant, Adderall or cocaine. And there on the far right, we can see somebody who might have ingested some kind of opioid. pupil's going to be really teeny tiny pinpoint. We were just talking about signs of use and how that person is going to be pretty out of it. However, they will still respond. Overdose is when they stop responding. They're going to be unconscious. Their breathing is going to be slow, shallow, erratic. It might have stopped completely. They could be making strange noises, choking, gurgling, snoring. For lighter skinned folks, our skin tone is going to turn bluish purple in the thin skinned areas, places like underneath the fingernails and in the lips. For darker skinned folks, it'll be grayish or ashen in those same places. We've got our 5 steps to save a life. It's super duper easy. Step number 1, we want to shake and shout. If I come across someone who's unconscious, I'm going to try to wake them up. If I can't wake them up, step number 2, we want to call 911 every single time. A couple reasons for this. 911 is going to have more Narcan than I do, so they'll always bring additional doses in case this person needs additional doses. 911 has, calling 911 activates the Good Samaritan Law, which we'll talk about in just a second. And we've got about a 5-minute response time here in Oakland County, so I won't have to be performing life-saving measures on this person for too long before EMS takes over. And every second counts during an overdose. Step number 3, you're going to take your naloxone. It comes in a blister pack. It looks just like this. If you've ever used a nasal spray, you're already 3 steps ahead of me. All you have to do is peel the back off and take out the applicator. It looks just like this. I like to hold it around the nozzle between my pointer and my middle finger. This thing underneath the nozzle, that's the plunger. All you have to do to administer naloxone, stick it into that individual's nostril as far up as your fingertips will let you, and push the plunger in. You'll hear the applicator click and spray, and that's pretty much it for administration. Step number 4, we want to check their breathing and their pulse. Remember, it's stopping those signals from the brain that tells the lungs to breathe. Naloxone's going to work to reverse that. But in the interim, we can do CPR, we can give rescue breaths. If you don't know how to do that, if you've got 911 on the phone, 911 can walk you through how to do all of it. And step number 5, is it working? Naloxone can take up to 2 to 3 minutes to start working. So if there's still no improvement after the first 2 to 3 minutes, each box of Narcan comes with 2 doses. You can take out that second dose and administer it the exact same way as the first one with one difference. If I put it in their right nostril the first time, I want to put it in their left nostril the second time. That's because I don't know if they've got a blockage or something medical going on that's stopping the medication from being absorbed. In the event that the overdose is reversed, you can put them into the recovery position, kind of laying down on their left side. This is going to help them in case they get sick, they won't breathe it back in. They're probably going to be disoriented, so it's something that I like to approach with care and compassion. Hey, you've had a medical event, EMS is on the way, can I get you a water, can I get you a blanket? We talked a little bit about some resources. Here in Oakland County, we've got 105 Save a Life stations. They are free Narcan stations that the Alliance has throughout the county. I know at the Oakland County Sheriff's substations, the one in Independence, it's probably the closest one to your school here. And then at Springfield Fire, at all the Springfield Fire stations, there's also some Save a Life stations. Free Narcan, you can show up to any one of them. They're outside. Grab as much Narcan as you can carry and make sure that they stay filled up. I'm going to pass it over to Stacey Anderson with the Clarkston Coalition for Youth.
Clarkston Coalition for Youth. Some of you may know me as Mia, Kira, Max, and Tessa Zorski's mom. Just wanted to introduce myself as a local resource, familiar face. If you're interested in getting involved, doing any of the programming with us, we focus on mental health, substance abuse awareness. We're really grateful to be up here alongside of Alliance and Fentanyl Fathers. We love your input when you see us with the marketing class. We are working with 8th graders over at the junior high. We sponsor the senior picnic, tailgate, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to come help us out, we're always looking for students, good ideas, and your voices on these matters, okay? So thanks for coming and listening. Thanks.
Thank you for having us here. I'm Deputy Fagan with Oakland County Sheriff's Crisis Response Unit. It's a very unique unit for law enforcement. Myself, individuals in recovery partner with me. My partner every day is somebody that's either 4 years recovery or 10 years in recovery. We ride together and we respond to crisis calls for mental health and substance. That number is specifically for our union. It's manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you have questions or concerns or in crisis, you can give us a call. If we can't answer those questions or get you resources, we'll make sure that we get you directed to them. Has anybody here heard about the Good Samaritan Law? That's a big part about why they invited law enforcement to be here. Good Samaritan Law, it sounds familiar already. So prior to 2016, what was happening is where individuals were at parties or hanging out, somebody was overdosing, going into some type of crisis. There were drugs on the scene and people weren't calling for help because they were afraid they were going to get in trouble. So they literally walked away from people and let them die. So in 2016, the legislature said that's got to stop. And so what that looks like for you guys now is if you call for help when someone's in crisis for drugs or mental health or alcohol, and you still have substance on you, your substance on scene, if you call anyone to get help, we're coming, we're going to help save that life, and we'll confiscate and destroy the drugs, but nobody gets criminally charged. So we don't want the fear of being prosecuted to be something that doesn't stand in the way of someone saving a life.
Thank you, Deputy. We just have a couple minutes, so I just want to bring your attention to this resource. It's called Victoria's Voice. We're going to ship a bunch of boxes in to your principal. If anybody wants it, come down and get it. It's the Journal of a Girl Who Overdosed, and it's an anti-drug book because it lets you know that she's struggling with anxiety and depression. Anybody want a copy of this book? Here you go. All right, you get one too. Come on up here and get one. So, we're going to ship those in. This is a group called SAFE, and Students Advocating Fentanyl Education.
Your reason for joining SAFE may be sitting next to you right now. So if you're interested in helping us spread awareness, please DM us on Instagram or scan this QR code so that we can keep our generation safe.
Hit up SAFE on Instagram and start a SAFE Club here. What do you do to SAFE Club? You make sure everybody knows what Narcan is. You know how to do 1001 Great Comebacks to Peer Pressure. Where would you get this book? At the bottom of fentanylfathers.org, you'll get 1001 Great Comebacks to Peer Pressure. We're going to hear testimony from Mike Gillette, and then we're going to end on committing to not going near fentanyl.
We're running a little short on time. So I'm going to pass on sharing stories about my son, other than the fact that I love him so much and I miss him every day of my life. But I do want to touch on a couple of issues with you. Number one, I've done over 100 presentations. I always pay very close attention to the students. Are they listening? Are they sleeping? Are we connecting with them? And I know one thing for sure, and that's you're all thinking the same thing. This is never going to happen to me. It only happens to other people. I'm way too smart for this. So I want to share a true story with you about my son. Brian lost a friend to fentanyl poisoning, and he went to his memorial. He was very upset. He was very taken back by this. And when he came home, he was pretty much unapproachable. My wife and I said, let's just let him sleep, and we'll talk about it in the morning. So in the morning, we sat down and talked with him about what had happened. And my wife said, Brian, don't let this be your story. Brian looked at us and said, don't worry, I'm way too smart for this. This will never happen to me. Then he looked at my wife and said, Mom, don't worry, I'm Superman. My son was Superman. He died 10 days later. Nobody in this room is Superman. Nobody in this room is exempt from what this drug can do to you. It took my son's life, it can take yours. We've talked a lot about you and how we can prepare you and bring you awareness. I want to talk about somebody else. I want to talk about your families. I want to talk about your mom, your dad, your brother and your sister, maybe even somebody in this room that you really care about. My last image of my son was holding his dead body in his bedroom. His body was cold. His eyelids, his lips were purple. And in the background, all I could hear was my wife screaming, wailing in pain at the realization that she had just lost her firstborn son. You have no idea of the pain and the regret and the guilt that we live with. I couldn't even save my own son. Did I say all the right things to him when he was alive? Did I tell him I loved him enough? And it's too late for me, but it's not too late for you. I want you to take what you heard today. I want you to go home tonight and bring this up at the dinner table. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Don't let this happen to you. Thank you.
On your way out, please say this with me. I'll never try. So I'll never die from fentanyl. You guys are fentanyl certified. Watch this. That's Narcan. You need to know where it is. You need to be able to administer it. Thanks a ton. We're up here if you have any questions.
Drop the mic.